So a little bit about us, me, and why I'm talking about this. So we started about 12 years ago. We're in 20 markets. I'm the founder of Brovo Spirits. We make the weird stuff, vermouth amaro liqueurs. We're in 20 states. We sold 20,000 cases last year. We're not small. We're not big. So we're right, in the middle. And then we were in New York with two other distributors. We left and we just came back in April? Yeah. So that's why I'm talking about this. It's like, what did I see before? What do we see now? And little shot here, more of our weed guys. Orion on the left supplies our Douglas fir. And then Connor and Mac, two members on our team. And that's Brandon. He's pulling socks. We can come by the booth and you can ask about the socks later. So what are we going to do today? We're going to talk about what the changes are in the market, what's happened, show some examples in the post-COVID world. They're going to come from other markets. We're going to synthesize what those changes mean in terms of activation. And then we're going to offer some recommendations at the end of the day. So I'm going to start with this. I've been saying this a lot, and I want to reframe this. There is a lot of inexperience right now. Inexperience is not bad. That is not a bad word. It's a word that means people don't have experience in what they're doing. There's a lot of new people. And it's done a few things. It's changed margins. It's changed staffing. It's added additional benefits. This has been good for the market. But there's a lot of volatility as a result of it. So we're going to talk about the creation and the creativity and craft aspect of it. So how do you gain craft? You practice. How do you have creativity? You have big ideas. How do you put those two things together? Okay, so this is the details. We're going to talk about it 5 ways. So what did the market look like before? In the last major event that happened that impacted the market especially is the recession, 2008. So what happens? People leave their jobs, there is change, new people come in, it stabilizes. 18 months later, it stabilizes, okay? So you have defined tastemakers in the city, they make defined decisions, it's all good. Craft becomes learning the classics. The same time the industry is developing and it's becoming real, it's serious, it's seen as a profession, it's got standing. That's happening through craft cocktails, classic craft cocktails. So you're learning that through hands-on training, supplier visits, rep visits, and then creativity takes the form of changing structures within those classic cocktails. I'm going to swap the base. I'm going to make an ingredient, ginger syrup. I'm going to make my own falernum. We heard that a lot. And lists are made by base spirit, right? So you're going to make a list. You're going to have vodka cocktail. 5 years ago, when somebody said to me, what do you want on the list? I said, I want to be in the vodka cocktail in the number 1 slot. I never say that now. So sometimes there's seasonality, usually seasonality, sometimes thematics, not really that much though. Lists are serious, okay? Favorite brands are European. That's where most of them come from. They're old school, been around for a long time. They have generational wealth. I bet there's not a ton of people in this room with generational wealth, right? I don't have generational wealth, so I say that from a unique position. They are the correct products. So they're the ones you use, right? The American craft market's young. To be frank, some of it's not very good. It has to get better, right? So then we're going to go to now. What does it look like now? Overall, there's turnover. There's so much turnover. I can go to visit a market, see 20 people, and 2 weeks later, 10 of them are gone. It's unbelievable right now. So staffing's huge. So the person who makes the decision today might not be the person making the decision tomorrow, and the reorder you want might be a different person. So it's completely different. And right now, nobody has time. So they don't want to see you, and they don't want to see your salesperson necessarily, but the one person they really want to see is their distributor rep, because they have stuff on a list, and they don't want to reprint that list, and they got to make sure they have product, and who delivers that product to them? Their distributor. Craft takes the form of learning through online portals. If I don't have time and I can't take an hour at 2 o'clock to talk to you on a Wednesday afternoon, it used to be magic hour, what I'm going to do is go online. I'm going to look at your Insta, I'm going to look at your website, and I'm going to decide what you've got and what I can learn. creativity's changed. So this is my favorite part post-COVID. We got back to fun. So now it's 90s, 80s cocktails. Used to joke my favorite cocktail was a pina colada, and it is my favorite cocktail. It's a great cocktail, right? Well made. It's a party, right? You're at a pool, you're on a chaise-longue, it's perfect. That used to not be I used to not be taken seriously when I said that. Now everybody wants a pina colada. We all almost died, right? So now we're looking at it saying we want a party. We want all those 80s and 90s cocktails now, and we're going to make them better. So right now we have a whole ton of bartenders out there making great cocktails out of ones that used to be crappy, in my opinion. So great pina coladas. They're not swapping bases the same way. That's not something that's happening the same way. They're not making their own syrups the same way. And that's because they don't have time. They're buying them. Lists are made by flavor or feeling. So if I had a vodka cocktail, a tequila cocktail, or a mezcal cocktail before, now I want a patio pounder. I want something light and fruity. I want something serious and dark. I want a Negroni, because that should be on every list. It's a given. But it's more fun. It's more culinary. And brands from outside Europe are rising. So the ones that I see a lot, Japanese spirits right now, on fire. They've never had access. They're really coming in now strong. The products are exceptional. The craft is exceptional. It's amazing to see. South American spirits, same thing. Seeing the same thing coming strong. American craft, because it's better now, right? And the stuff that's coming from Europe, deep cuts. So people are interested in Armagnac, Genepi, Chartreuse. It's the deep cut stuff from Europe people want now. So I'm going to talk about 3 accounts from outside this market, because the trends are happening here, they're happening everywhere. The first is called Kaluna. It's based in Minneapolis. It's a Laotian place. And typically the cocktails there, 5 to 6 ingredients, deep cut cocktails. They care about the program. Food and beverage inform each other, something we're seeing a lot more. And there's authenticity to the story. So they are going into detail on the products. They know who makes it. They know how it's made. And if they have a question, they're asking. They're texting, they're emailing, they're asking their reps, right? Lair House is in Boston. This one is a concept that is food and beverage from the Jewish diaspora. So it's not a bar for Jewish people. It is a bar where the food and beverage of Jewish culture is shared. And it's spectacular. It's a library, too. It's my favorite bar because it's a library. It's spectacular. So again, values-based decisions are being made. And then one from Seattle, my hometown, Bar Sabine. They are doing a Lord of the Rings cocktail menu. And if there is one thing in the world I hate, I say this lovingly, you can ask my husband and son, it is Lord of the Rings. I've sat through all the movies. I deeply, deeply dislike it. Cocktail menu had to be spectacular to wow me, and it was. Again, attention to detail. That is a crown you're seeing here. This is pearls on a crown. That's the garnish, right? All right, so pre-COVID, if you didn't have a market rep, you were screwed. You needed feet on the street. Presence was everything. Relationship was everything. There's only a few tastemakers that matter pre-COVID. They set the tone, you win them, you win everyone. And third, values, authenticity, and diversity play less of a role, okay? Now, totally different, in my opinion. Market reps are less important. There's so many new buyers, they have no time to meet. Nothing. So your social media and online presence are what count overall. There's less focus on a few tastemakers. So the industry is widened. There's a lot more viewpoints now out there. A lot of people have an opinion. And there's a focus on company values, on authenticity, and on diversity. I have had dozens of accounts say to me that they taste the product. If the product is good, the price is fair, and it's run by a woman, member of the LGBTQ community, or person, member of the BIPOC community, they will buy it over any other brand, over and over again. So I guess the key thing is, you heard a lot lot of different opinions today, right? And so with all these opinions, what can you take away and do differently? So I would say number one is social, Get an online education plan, especially Instagram. And if you go to our Instagram, you'll see the ever so authentic videos that I have made presenting our brand, which seem to be resonating somewhat. Share the details. So tell people how you make it. Tell people what's in it. It's not a secret. You might be worried about people copying you, but they can't really, because you do it specific ways. Speak to the brand values. Who are you? What do you represent? Who do you stand for? And don't focus on a few key accounts. Spread wide. I think what Brian said about payroll, my number 1 and 2 worries are payroll and rent, right? It's a small business owner. Every time you walk into an account, you resonate with them because you are what they are. You are the same company, right? So these small bars, restaurants, retailers, we're all the same. I worry about payroll twice a month. I worry about rent once a month. So look at it that way. You are just like them. And then this is the big one for me. And I preach this everywhere. And I have to say I'm super happy because a whole bunch of our distributor people are here today. So thank you. Be nice to your reps. Distributors are everything. Brian, I'm the 180 from you. Distributors are everything, right? Be kind to them. Treat them as human beings. Develop incentives for them. Understand their education is worth gold to you. Reps on your team, distributor reps on your team, they're worth everything. Treat them well. Treat them like humans. I don't usually do decks when I do GSMs and I meet with them. I rarely do a deck. I usually just talk to people in the room and ask things because decks don't work, in my opinion. Make a lot of marketing materials for them. I do that. I happen to have a little bit of a sticker addiction, which I think the people who know me can say they recognize, but there's lots of things. Honor the relationship with your distributor. That's what I would say. Give them what they need to do the job. All right. Bar trends are different now. So it's culinary now. And what I see on bars now, side note, and this is something I've been looking at, is what's working for bars, deeper cut products, more ingredients, adding something to a cocktail that I can't do at home. I can make a margarita at home. Pretty good. I could before, but the average consumer went from making rum and Coke to making a margarita during COVID. They can do that. They want more now. Understand the time constraints and provide education on their schedule. Interest in developing craft, but the methodology is different. So understand that they're going to learn on their terms. And then drive interest through a personal approach. There's a lot of inexperience. I keep saying that. It's not a bad thing. Be open to new ideas. Be respectful of it. Authenticity matters. And then hard work counts. I was in a market 2 weeks ago and somebody said, wow, you've pounded the street for 12 years. And I'm like, I have. I've dragged a bag. I go out on the street. I founded the company. I still drag the bag. I still like being on the street. But don't always be selling. Enjoy the journey. Be playful, have fun, have curiosity, have a good time.